Hello everyone, and welcome to LexiEnglish. This is a place where we learn real English through simple and natural conversations. Today, we're talking about a very interesting question. What makes you happy? It sounds like an easy question, but when you really think about it, it becomes difficult.
Yet it becomes remarkably difficult when we pause to consider it seriously. It feels like we're expected to offer some profound, perhaps even impressive answer.
I think that pressure is very real. We often anticipate something grand, don't we? But often what genuinely brings happiness is surprisingly modest. My day started with nothing particularly monumental. Just a warm cup of tea, nice weather, a favorite song playing, and the distinct absence of meeting requests.
And that's enough? That sounds almost too simple, given how much we often strive for and seek in life. Are we overcomplicating it?
It is enough, and perhaps that very simplicity is a crucial starting point for understanding what happiness truly is.
You're suggesting that happiness isn't a single monolithic emotion, which challenges the common perception that it's always this intense, exhilarating state.
Exactly. It's a spectrum encompassing comfort, peace, excitement, and deep connection. And often what we label as happiness might actually be a deeper sense of fulfillment, which isn't always loud or externally dramatic. People frequently imagine happiness as this big, exciting event or achievement.
But you believe that truly enduring happiness is quieter, almost understated. How do we reconcile that with a culture that constantly celebrates grand gestures and peak experiences?
It's a fundamental shift in focus. It's about less external noise and much more internal warmth. It isn't about constant thrills, but a sustainable state of well-being.
Yet society often pushes us to chase external markers, money, success, public recognition. There's an implicit promise that these will lead to happiness, or at least a shortcut to it.
Those pursuits aren't inherently negative. The issue arises when we expect them to be a universal remedy, to magically fix everything that's lacking, or to be the sole source of joy.
That's the trap, isn't it? The I'll be happy when I get this mindset, where happiness is perpetually deferred until some future achievement or acquisition.
Exactly, but real life rarely aligns with that linear expectation. It teaches us that happiness often doesn't wait for those big moments.
If external achievements aren't the answer, where do we consistently find this quieter, calmer happiness? What emerges when people speak honestly about what truly fulfills them?
It's almost always about human connection, a good conversation, a friend who genuinely understands you, someone who simply remains present with you in your life.
So meaningful relationships are truly fundamental, perhaps even more so than we typically acknowledge when we're busy chasing other goals.
They absolutely are. They imbue life with meaning in a way that material gains rarely do, providing a stable foundation for well-being.
If it's not about grand achievements or constant excitement, but more about connection and calm, how do we cultivate that in our daily lives? Let's consider these smaller, more subtle moments. Precisely, think of a quiet walk, a peaceful evening, the simple pleasure of the first sip of tea, or the warmth of someone remembering a small detail about you without being prompted. These experiences are fleeting, almost imperceptible. How do such brief, unassuming moments contribute to a sense of lasting happiness?
They may be small, but they resonate, they linger. The key is simply to notice them, to allow ourselves to be present for them rather than letting them pass by unobserved.
Is noticing them another way of saying we need to practice gratitude, to intentionally acknowledge those positives?
In essence, yes. Gratitude is actively acknowledging what remains good in our lives, what we still have, even when circumstances are far from ideal or perfect.
On the flip side, what actively works against this sense of calm and appreciation for small moments? What truly obstructs our path to happiness?
Unquestionably, comparison. When we constantly measure our lives against others, it's almost impossible to feel satisfied with our own reality.
The old adage, "a grass is always greener," holds true. We project an idealized version of others' lives onto them, forgetting their struggles.
Exactly. We only ever see a curated, partial view of what's happening with other people, rarely the full picture with all its imperfections.
So there's a distinction between fleeting pleasures, the spark, bright but quick, as you put it, and something more enduring. What are the hallmarks of that lasting happiness? Absolutely. Many things can give us a temporary thrill, but genuine, lasting happiness emerges from connection, from a sense of meaning, and from an inner peace that isn't easily disturbed. This idea of meaning seems central. How does a life infused with purpose change our experience of happiness, even when faced with difficulties or setbacks? A meaningful life fundamentally shifts our perspective. Even challenging days feel more manageable, less overwhelming, when there's an underlying purpose that resonates with us. And it doesn't have to be a grand purpose. Simple acts of kindness, for example, can profoundly alter your entire day, providing a quiet sense of meaning. So, to bring this all together, perhaps happiness isn't something we need to chase loudly or dramatically, expecting it to announce its arrival with fanfare.
It very well may be something quiet. It's often found in feeling calm, sleeping peacefully, laughing easily and without effort, or simply accepting and feeling okay with the way your life is right now. Share this episode with someone who might appreciate a fresh perspective on what truly makes us happy.